Okay, gonna stop before they go on much further. By the way, this is going to be a long song. The video is about 14 minutes long, so hang in there with me. I was really interested and struck at first how there was this whispering in the backing track. I think that's a backing track. I didn't see anybody live on stage. I could be wrong. But in the headphones, it was really interesting how it was panned back and forth to both sides, which really denotes like voices in your head or voices all around you, surrounding you. So I thought that was a particularly interesting choice. That might sort of be a reference. I know that this was partly inspired by an Edgar Allan Poe work. I think it was The Pit and the Pendulum that talked about psychological warfare. So I wonder if that was partly in reference to that psychological warfare. But also, I think it's really interesting how you have this really magical sound in the orchestra. It's like something you would see in a fantasy film. But then it's paired as well with, it sounds like a young child's voice. And that, I can't tell what words are being said, but that sort of child's voice and the minor key paired together often symbolize some sort of loss or death. And I'm definitely getting a feeling of something that has just crumbled. But let's keep going. I'll start it just a little bit before so I get this transition. Oh, and there are the pendulums in the background. Wow. Whoa. Okay, before she really gets in here too much further, there's a lot musically that's going on. First of all, anytime you start adding drums, you're going to get a lot more energy in this sound, which you can, I guess that's self-evident here, but you can just really feel how instantly when you get drums, you're like, whoa, my heart's beating faster, right? So you have a lot more life now in this part. Uh, in addition, they have so many fun different rhythmic structures that they're falling back and forth between, that it definitely is building anticipation. And I also think that it goes with this swinging pendulum in the background, this idea of like maybe a cyclical cycle or something like this. Okay, let's catch Florin. Mm. Ooh. Whoa. Woo, woo. Okay, some really, really cool things happening in there. First of all, I love Flora's voice. She's so expressive but has power, and I loved this growl she put in the middle. But one of the things that I thought was the coolest in here was actually the descending chromatic passage. That's hard to tune, but she tuned it very well. But it also echoes one of those rhythmic passages as well, and the instrumental part right before where they had this descending chromatic. So that's like when a bunch of musical pitches are really close together as they go down. And if it's chromatic, it tends to feel a little creepier, a little darker. So let's go back and check that out one more time. So expressive and really good belt too. Oh, that's really good. Ooh, listen to that one more time. That's really, really nice. Wow. Oh. I love her clarity of diction. She very, very clearly has some classical training in the way that just the way she's relaxing her mouth, yet opening it up and enunciating her words so much. But at the same time, she has just this power that she brings and so much anger too in this sound. This part sounds like it's like in that angry stage of grief, just so frustrated at everything that's happening and not even able to cry because it's hurting so much. um I really love hearing how she's able to channel that anger into her vocals while maintaining excellent technique. Most people would just become totally clammed up and very constricted, and she keeps it open so she can just let the emotion pour out. Oh, there's that chromatic again. Guys, also, that takes so much breath control. That was a lot of words, a lot of singing for a long time. And you could hear them just like when they took a breath in, you didn't hear any gasps. You heard it just open. So none of that kind of sound that actually is impeding the air coming through. That's your vocal cords come closer together, and that's what makes the sound when you gasp. So they just both open and go. And that's the kind of gasp that brings in a ton of air so that they can keep on singing these endless words. It's really, really good. Let's do that one more time. Wow. It's a lot of words to get out there. Next act, I think. Cello? And orchestra, string orchestra, obviously. Okay, I have to tell you guys, this was just magical. And this is the reason I wore this t-shirt today. I think that Floor is a magical singer. But she also has awesome vocal control. So I wanted you to see science like magic, but real. Because part of what she's doing here is just about her breath control. And it's about having vocal cords come together really easily with a low phonation threshold pressure. So I love that she's able to just use her larynx well to make us experience these wonderful things. It's so cool, so, so cool. It's, yeah, it's magic that's real. Look, I want to get a little more of that, okay? Ah, such a good sign. Oh. Next act? Not sure.
I'm afraid, so afraid. Being raped again and again and again.
Whoa.
I know I will die alone, but loved. You live long enough to hear the sound of guns. Long enough to find yourself screaming every night. Long enough to see your friends betray you. For years, I've been strapped onto this altar. Now I only have 3 minutes and counting. I just wish the tide would catch me first. Give me a death I always longed for.
Whoa, that is so intense. I did not expect these words to be said like this in a whisper, and it makes it more intense to have them as a whisper than I think they would be sung. It's so, whoa, I just like, definitely made my heart race. Also, I'm loving the orchestral nature of the composition as well. It's, you definitely hear it was like much smoother strings in the orchestra when you had something that was more mournful, and that was that floaty section from Floor. But now, as this section transitioned, you heard a lot more brass and definitely like more angular movement in the orchestra. Thomas is a really good orchestrator. Also, big choirs tend to be dramatic. Okay, we're gonna come back to this. Sorry, I was just about to solder when I heard him screaming, so we'll come back to that. But first, let's talk about that instrumental interlude there. You could hear those angular moments in the orchestra that I was talking about right before, when it becomes a little more dramatic. And then also you have these like interspersed choral moments as well, where they're singing like oohs or ahs. And that definitely echoes back to like Carmina Burana kind of writing where it's super dramatic. You would definitely hear that in an epic moment in a film score. So I think that was really, really cool. In addition, I love hearing the bass note in this progression. If you listen to the bass, you can always tell when you're like home, you're good. And then suddenly it'll like jump up in very, what I would call like non-pop harmony progression. And it feels also angular. So that's all adding to this. It feels like a much more aggressive nature from the music. This is very smartly composed. Let's go back so we catch that transition to him screaming. You hear those choirs? Just so you guys know, screaming or growling, or there's a lot of different ways to describe what he was just doing, that can be done in a healthy way. Often the only way I can really measure if a person is doing this without damaging their voice is saying, can they sing afterwards? You know, some people will be able to afford doing a little growl, but maybe not do it the right way. But then they feel totally exhausted after that and they have bad vocal tone. If that's the case, you're doing it wrong. Uh, it's possible to relax your throat. And I'll go into detail on this in one of my Q&A videos one day, I think, about the actual anatomy of what you need to do to scream properly. So I'll leave it till then. But just so you know, the way I would judge it is, can they sing afterwards? Let's go back. Wow.
Today, in the year of our Lord 2005, two of us was called from the cares of the world. He stopped crying at the end of each beautiful day. The music he wrote had too long been without silence. He was found naked and dead, with a smile on his face, a pen, and 1,000 pages of erased text.
Whoa. Wow. Did you hear that at the end? It sounded like a blade going past, right? Not just a pendulum, like not just something that's inside of a clock, but like a blade instead. Listen to that at the very end.
Pages of erased text.
Oh, that was cool. What a cool sound effect to put in there. And now a heartbeat. So this might actually be the next act. I might have spoken too soon. One thing to notice, again, orchestration-wise, I think you have an oboe that is currently the solo in the orchestra part right now. There's also a piano in there. An oboe is often used to express mourning. So in particular, I feel like this part is definitely is going to have a lot more mourning in it. Flora right now is doing something super, super smart vocally. She is actually thinning out the sound a little bit to make it more clear and help us to hear the words a little bit more. If you're just singing oohs and ahs, you can fill that up. But it's hard for really clear vowels and consonants to be heard as distinctly. And she instead has created this beautiful, pristine, clear sound in a higher register. So it's really fascinating to hear how many options she has in different registers in her voice. Most people don't have that many options available to them, but she clearly does. And she's been able to sing with a growl, with a belt. She's been able to sing like a super low register with really clear words and in a much higher register with really clear words. And then she's been able to float things too, like a true opera singer. So it's just, I love seeing how smart vocally she is. I think that's a mixed belt. So terminology-wise, headphone wire. Terminology-wise, the first part she was using, I would call it more of a true head voice, where she just had she was able to make it thinner and more clear. And then when you hear this belt up there, I don't think she's taking her full chest voice up. It's what I think we would refer to as more of a mixed belt. But I will talk a lot more about what mixed voice is in a Q&A video soon, or yes, very soon. Wow. Listen to the different ways she expresses the same descending notes. This is so amazing. This really takes a look at how beautiful and wonderful of a singer she is. Oh, let's go back a little more. So this way was very clean, I would say. Had a nice slide there. A little delay in that one. I think there was one more before the shift. I'll go back and get it. Okay, I want to go back and catch that ending one more time. This also, the way she's singing these notes at the end, she's really giving them a clean onset, so that that means that the air hits her vocal cords right as they start vibrating. It's a really beautiful, efficient way to begin singing. Also a mark of great technique. So let's go back again. And also, I'm trying to keep in mind, even though this is a descending line, it feels like things are being put to peace, because I believe that this is symbolizing a new beginning. Huh, feels like minimalism.
The beginning.
There she is at the beginning. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh. Wow.